Welcome to Far East Wargaming, bringing you another Heresy Thursday. I'm Richard, your host, and joining me once again is Jason.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be back again.
Yes, and like we said in our special update last week, we'd be following up closely behind the latest releases for the Horus Heresy on Warhammer's Heresy Thursday, doing our own Heresy Thursday for this. And like they promised, they did release a new model. And this time, it's for the Iron Hands instead of the Iron Warriors. The latest model is the Iron Father.
Yeah, I'm as an Iron Hands player, a longtime Iron Hands player, I'm very excited about this model. We finally get another character. We didn't have anything for such a long time, and then we got Shadrach's model, a couple months ago, and now we get the Legion Praetor model. I've got a lot to say about this, but I'm excited. What a time to be alive. A lot of the Legions are getting love that didn't have it before.
Yeah, I'm glad they brought something out for these guys. I'm honestly, when I saw it, a lot sprang to mind, and to me, of all the releases they've done, this one is only okay. There's a lot I like. Well, there's a lot I like, but there's even more I really don't like about this model.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll give my initial impression because I don't think it's perfect. So let me be clear about that. My initial impression is this is good. I don't think it's great, and I'll kind of go into the reasons why, kind of one at a time, real quick. So, what do I like about it? I love the Mark III armor. I love the bionics, of course. We've got a bionic right arm and right leg, which I think is very cool. We've got lots of segments to the armor, extra pipes, extra wires, segmented shoulder pads. So all of that just screams Iron Hands. I love the little skittering spider skull, which is a new take that we typically haven't seen on a servo skull in the past. And let's face it, the resin servo skulls, when they're only connected by a couple tubes or wires, they're very fiddly, very delicate. So I love that touch. I like both the heads. I think both the heads are good. The bear head looks very similar to the ones from the 40K plastic upgrade sprue, but with a little bit more detail, so that's nice. I like the plumed helmet with half of the helmet being bionics. I think that's pretty cool. And we have a grav pistol, so fantastic. I like that too. What I don't like is the machinator array. And the reason why I don't like the machinator array is, yes, you get it when you upgrade a character to be an Iron Father, so that part, okay. What's not okay is machinator arrays come with flamers and plasma gun. So those are not represented, at least in these pictures on this model. So if you play strict WYSIWYG, or you play an event that requires strict WYSIWYG, you don't even have the weapons modeled on these machinator array unless it's somehow attached to the backpack or some part of the model that we can't actually see. So I think that's bad. I don't like the extra little tube things coming out of his cape. Like, again, he's just got all this stuff sticking off of him that just kind of screams Doc Octopus to me. Don't like that. Yes, we get a power fist. Great. It looks cool. It looks like it's a little bit of bionics built into that too, but I'll definitely be swapping that for something else, because very rarely are you going to stick a fist on most of your characters. You're probably going to go for Paragon Blade if this is a Praetor, or you're going to go for a Thunderhammer for almost every single character. The fist is nice, but basically you're going to have to remove that arm and do something else with it. And again, the model isn't WYSIWYG, which is very strange to me, with GW going in this direction of being WYSIWYG, yet this model doesn't even fit that definition. So that's why I view it as good. Don't view it as the best of the latest new models, but I do like it. But it does have its flaws, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the heads. Well, mainly I'm not a huge fan of the fact that we have a bionic mohawk. I really don't like the mohawk look, the way they've done it, and it's been something we've seen in a few of these models, and it really isn't for me there. I do like the servo skull. I think that's a really cool take, and that's probably the one thing I like the most about this model. And I'm pretty happy about the way, for the Iron Hands, they've got the bionics. and especially more than the hand ending, it's the first time we've seen a chunky leg in how I'd honestly imagine a leg to be. I've seen different takes from Games Workshop for bionic legs, and they all tend to be these spindly, tiny pieces of metal that look like small ankle bones, kind of thing like this. And this here is what I'd expect of a Space Marine's bionic foot to be like, massive, chunky, and to be able to bear the weight of this guy. But I really can't stand these bionic tentacles they've got. And actually, to be honest, the worst part for me about the bionic tentacles is that I don't even see a way to sculpt them out because they're integrated so heavily into the cloak. So even if you didn't want to use these guys, I just don't think it's going to be a very easy conversion to get rid of them. So I'd be questioning the convertibility of this model into something that doesn't have these kind of arms. So yeah, I've got to double check about the machinator array though. I don't remember it coming with all those flame weapons. I remember it being just a close combat weapon in the current edition.
No, it does. It comes with shooting weapons as well, so we can double check that. It definitely comes with it's either flamer plasma or flamer melta gun. It comes with some shooting options. Now, granted, when I model my own guide with an Iron Father upgrade, I'm just using the standard guide that the Iron Hands have always had in Terminator armor, and he's got the servo arm / weapon thing on the back. What's also a little bit annoying about this particular model is just two things. I won't keep going on and on about the tendrils, but those things are just going to break. They're going to. It's especially the longer one that seems to be connected to one of the other tentacles, yet still has a lot of just its own body, and it sticks out fairly far from the model. So it's going to make some playability issues with this model as well, right? Because, let's face it, the more stuff you have sticking out at very large distances, the harder it is in close combat. You definitely don't want to pick this up by the tentacles or anything like that. So those are going to break. The other thing that breaks a lot on these types of models is, unfortunately, the little power nodes on all of the grav weapons. I have bought so many grav weapon upgrade packs only for half of them to arrive with these things broken off, or the ones that come in like the Immortals kit, or the ones that come in the Breacher upgrade kit, which is the more square type shields. I don't know if they even still offer that on Forgeworld. I can't remember if they do or not. But the point is that these things never last. They don't last on the ones on the old Forgeworld resin upgrade kits for the grab and the fist. Those things are always snapping off. So there's got to be some sort of better design for these things. I am really worried about the playability on this model and just how delicate it's going to be. So that's probably my other beef on why I vote this as a good, not great.
Yep, I just double checked the rulebook. You're right. In the servo weapons side of things, it has the weapons profile and it's close combat weapon, but it does mention flamer and melta gun integrated into it. So you do bring up a very good point in terms of where are those weapons on this model if it's trying to represent the Iron Father. I'll put another little point that I like about this. I do like what they've done with the torso. This is a take on the torso that's very nice. I like new designs, and the piping in the center reminds me a bit of what I'd expect of Mark V, or just something specific for the Iron Hands here. So I do appreciate that. What I'd love to see out of Games Workshop is when they release these kind of previews, they release some more 360 photographs of these things, because we've yet to see the backside of the previous one for the Iron Warriors. We're not seeing what the backpack looks like for this one here. So it'd be very hard to tell on how this is all connected, because I'd be very keen to see how those arms are connected, or how it integrates with the other side of the cape there. So yeah, a lot to still be left uncovered or undiscovered for this model. But at first glance, I think they've missed it for me on this one here.
Okay. Yep, fair enough. Probably the last comment I'll make before we move on to the next topic is I do think there is some convertibility on this. Now, if you're staying strictly in the realm of Iron Hands, right, you can do an easy swap, hopefully, I think, on that arm and on the pistol weapon. You may have to leave the machinator array depending on how it is on the back, but this could be a very good basis for a Forge Lord, for a Praevian, even for a tech marine. Like, again, just depending on how those parts are, we don't know yet. It'll be a little bit more tricky if you're doing this for other legions because it doesn't show from this angle how that servo spider and the shoulder pad and the cape integrate. So depending on how that goes together, whether or not you can actually switch that Iron Hand shoulder pad off or not, you may have to file it otherwise. But the emblems in the chest and the belt aren't too ostentatious or look like too difficult to do something with. You could very easily cover those up with other bits or some sort of 3D printed symbol of your given legion, and voila, you have that option now to make those HQs or Tech Marine for your own legions as well. But again, it's all it's all hypothesis at this point because we haven't seen, to your point, the 360-degree view and how these different things go together. But yeah, let's see.
Well, look, I'm glad they released something, and they are alluding they'll be releasing something again next Thursday for the Horus Heresy, which is great. So we're getting a nice end of year, a nice Christmas period for us, at least of previews. They say this will be out for pre-order soon. Soon in Games Workshop terms is to be determined there. And we'll see. Again, this is all from Forgeworld as well, so it's all in resin. So it's not going to be as simple as it would be if it was in plastic to convert over. Again, we're expecting this of all of these unique characters and consoles here. And you did bring up a very good point about the shoulder pad. If the shoulder pad is removable, this is a more easily convertible model to another legion. If it's not, I would feel very apprehensive about shaving off that Iron Hands logo while still maintaining the ridges on the shoulder pad itself. But the buckle and the knee pad easily shaved off, I think, with a very sharp Stanley knife or scalpel there to get rid of. So not too bad. And I think the servo skull is definitely usable by a lot of legions. It's just a very generic thing. And it's probably the one thing I love the most. Or sorry, it definitely is the one thing I love the most about this model here. So I'm glad we've seen it, and hopefully it's things to come. But the bottom line for me, this reminds me too much of an AdMech model, just because the tentacles are the main thing that I'm seeing when I look at this.
Fair enough, but we also had another article that we wanted to talk to, which is the third article dropped on Warcom about the 40K Emperor's Children. And as we here at Far East Wargaming are very heresy adjacent, I have very high hopes for these models because they're going to be easily convertible and used as kit bashing, for the bit to make your Emperor Children models in 30K. So the latest Warcom article, it's giving us the renders of the sonic weaponry. So we've got, and I can't remember off the top of my head what the 40K names of these particular weapons are, but there's two versions of sonic weaponry. They don't look too over the top in terms of like mutation and stuff like this. You do have some symbols of Slaanesh, but the arms themselves and even the weapon itself is not too mutated. So there you go. Here's your cacophony bits. If you want to make your own out of plastic Mark 6 or plastic Mark 3, I'm sure the scale was going to be very similar. As we've seen, you can take 40K World Eaters and you can put them on the new Mark 6, Mark 3, the shoulder pads, the heads, some of the arms and weapons, and they don't look out of place. You even get what looks like a version of a Chernobyl saber with the other picture at the bottom of the article. So now that makes 3 drops on Warcom for the Emperor's Children that have usability in 30K, in my opinion. Heads, shoulder pads, boom, sonic weapons, and Chernobyl blade.
I like these sonic weapons. As an EC player myself, I've seen some conversions of the Noise Marines to Cacophony, and these ones here I think are a better fit. They're not as morphed in terms of integrated into the arm as some of them, even though the Cacophony itself we have for 30K, some of them are quite welded in there in terms of mutated in. And if you think about it, the way we've gone for the Emperor's Children with the whole Fulgrim untransportable, I think he's called transfigured there, they're pushing very heavily towards the demonic side, so I think a lot of these will fit in. Then again, the pistol I think would have to be played as a flamer of some sort, but I actually really like the sword because we don't have that many fancy options for customizable Phoenix rapiers, and this would be a very nice Phoenix rapier to use on if you wanted to convert. And like myself, I've converted my own Palatine blades So having this for another set of conversions would be very nice. So I'm very pleased with what's to come for Slaanesh and the Emperor's Children here, and porting it over from 40k into 30k. But yes, can't complain too much. Again, these are just renders, so we're gonna see how these are coming out. I don't know. I'm assuming everything to do with 40k is gonna come out in plastic, or at least I hope so. So these are probably gonna be plastic and not resin. If this was coming out specifically for the Horus Heresy, I would say this would be very much like the Despoiler kit and a resin upgrade kit, as opposed to a plastic one. But I believe, since we're talking about the main system for Games Workshop, they're going to bring this out in plastic.
Yeah, I agree. One other thing too is I've got a box of the old, I think it's third edition / fourth, fifth edition Emperor's Children, Chaos Marines, when the upgrade bits were all still in metal. And I like the way they've kind of hinted at that old design where you had the longer weapon, the shorter weapon. Again, I can't remember what the names are off the top of my head, but they took a lot of cues from the old original designs, which I think is a nice little touch, but still made it relevant, cleaned it up, modern technology. Yeah, I mean, this is a win for me. I'm not building an Emperor's Children Legion at this moment. It's probably one of the few that I'm not. But I think if all this stuff is coming out in plastic in 2025, I will absolutely be picking some of this up and using it as a basis for making a lot of my own units.
Yeah. So look, thanks for tuning in, guys. This is a short one. We did delay this because we wanted to get the latest Heresy Thursday information from Warcom, and I'm glad we have. I'm glad we're getting this again, more regular updates. We'll see how long this lasts. I've got a feeling it will just be till the Christmas period ends, and then we'll be back to the few and far between for information for 30k. And for us at Far East Wargaming, we still have a few legions. I think we got 3 legions to do left for a legion review, so they will be coming up in the coming weeks, over probably into the new year for those. But yes, thanks for tuning in. Let us know your comments, whether you liked the latest Iron Father from the Iron Hands, and whether you're going to be picking one of these up, whether you think you know a good way that potentially can convert these arms, other than shaving them completely off there. And we're happy to have a chat in the comments. And if you've liked what we're doing, please like and subscribe, and hit the notification icon to get notified of our latest releases.
Yep. Thanks, everybody, as always, for the support. Really appreciate all that and the engagement, and we will catch you on the next one.